America bombed Iraq to the Stone Age. Where was the rules-based order then? And since you have just moved here from UK, did UK vote against the Americans at the UN? Did you stand for the UN Charter? Did you defend the sovereignty of a people? It's not that everyone in UK was applauding.
I was in Washington at the time, just so you know.
Oh, good. So you were bombing Iraq. Okay. Well done. So we should have voted against you. But my point here is that there are relationships. There are relationships which are real. Relationships that have served people, served causes, served continents. The US-UK relationship was a relationship forged during some of the most critical periods of human history, including, getting us through the 40s, the big war, right? Now, America does terrible things occasionally. I don't see UK voting against it ever. Or any of its friends, by the way. I think the Germans abstained, or Germans probably, in the case of Libya or one of the...
Libya, 2011. I
I think that was the time when the Germans moved away from the pack and they took a stand which was different and perhaps abstained. I have not seen any Western country vote against Western transgression. I've never seen it. Why? Because your relationship is important for the foundational stability of the architecture you have invested into. And good people do bad things, you don't condemn them. And that's again a very, very Occidental thing. Oh, he's made a mistake, so now condemn him. If he's our person, forgive him. If he's someone else's person, condemn him. We don't work like that. For us, the Russia relationship was significant. And yet we were so deeply disappointed in Russia's actions that we abstained. Now imagine a country that has used its veto so many times in India's favor, watching its friend abstain and not support it. We were not among the countries who voted for Russia. The message was not to Europe or America. The message was to the Russians that we like you so much and yet we abstain because we disapprove of what you have done. We are not with you on this. So if you look at the vote, which was abstention, and the readout along the vote when we gave our statement, the statement was an attack on Russian action. The voting was abstention, right? So you tell your friend we are not with you by abstaining, and you make a strong statement against the actions, but you don't throw them into the ditch. On the first part of it, on Russia and China, and let me come back to Russia, but let me start with China. On China, look, what India seeks with China is what every country around the world has wanted from China. We want to benefit from China's economic growth. There is no different aspiration in New Delhi. If there was a simple way of benefiting from China's economic growth, having fair trade, having open and transparent arrangements for a transfer of innovation and knowledge and creating value together and building industries and businesses together, infrastructure together, we would jump. We want a deep economic engagement with China. But as many of us have seen, economic integration with China comes with political consequences. You have to find ways of responding to the encroachments that we see alongside all Chinese economic activities. Political encroachments, challenging sovereignty, changing history, rewriting facts on the ground, the islands in the South China Sea, right? We see a political muscularity accompanying Chinese economic embrace. So the only way you will deal with China, and that's been my line for a while, is to find that impossible space where you can give them a warm economic embrace and exude tough political muscularity. Be tough and be warm. At the same time, we are all trying to find that space where we can exhibit both these virtues, but that is the only way you can deal with China, right? So I suspect that we are going to have continued ebbs and flows with China over the next decade. I'm not going to write off the possibility of having a couple of other incidents like we did a few years ago in the coming 5 to 6 years, which I believe are the years when the asymmetry between us is at the peak. In the 2030s, that will change. We will have sufficient capabilities to make Chinese adventurism costly, and we will be sufficiently big to excite them with the economic possibility.
When do you date this?
Early 2030s. When we reach $7 to $8 trillion, we become an exciting opportunity. By the way, I think their assessment of India has started to change already. So we are not the $2 trillion India, we are the $5 trillion India. It's going to become different by the time we reach 8 to 9. But even if it doesn't, we would be able to achieve capabilities to do to them what the Chinese did to the Americans in the middle of the last decade, to make adventurism costly. Everyone has been very careful with their China pronouncements, China activities. Now you announce your freedom of navigation operations weeks in advance. Earlier you used to believe it was your pond. In some sense, that the approach of many of the countries has really changed because of the deterrence and defense capabilities China has built in. And I think as a $7 to $8 trillion economy, when your budgets grow and you can invest in those capabilities and technology platforms and develop your indigenous solutions, you will see a change of approach.
Let me ask you a question on this. How critical, and I know we're going to talk about Russia too, but how critical is the United States to India's ability to develop you say indigenous capabilities, but how, up until recently, we were seeing some pretty transformative agreements between the U.S. and India in the military and technology space. Is that relationship critical to India getting where it wants to be when it comes to deterring China?
Answer is yes and no. Yes, the India-US relationship is absolutely vital if we want to accelerate and fast-track this process of where we want to be. No, because eventually it is a do-it-yourself world, and we will have to build our capabilities ourselves. Partnerships matter up to a point, and beyond that, it will have to be national industries, national capabilities, national policies, national, approaches to responding to the Chinese propositions, which will matter most. America is vital, but so is Russia, right? I keep telling people that if you really want to understand India's role in this complex world, and that was the part of the question that you asked me, think about this. We have, and I'm giving you one small example. I wrote about it last year as the year was ending, 2024, December. I wrote a piece that 2025 will be the year of Russia for India. That was my piece. This is before Trump was sworn in. It turned out to be the year of Russia for India for many reasons. But I remember writing in that piece that we have a missile system called the BrahMos missile, right? Which is a supersonic, very capable missile system that was also in operation most recently in our border conflict or border skirmish, whichever way you want to describe it. But when we were engaging in the anti-terror operations, Operation Sindoor. But look at that missile system. It's a joint venture between Russia and India, produced out of India. It is been sold to the Philippines, who have deployed it as a means to deter China, Russia's best friend, right? And of course, Philippines benefits a lot from monetary and other aid from the United States of America. And this is globalization India style, that we are partnering with the Russians to strengthen Philippines to take on the Chinese with the support of the Americans. And in that sense, that is the role we play in this world. And I think that's a good role. That's a good role to play, that we are able to bring together actors to work together on specific projects and ideas that are useful. Technology is the same. There are many examples of technology. Our payment systems. If any of you have internet working in this room, and I'm sure many of you do, you can go to a website called mosip.io, MOSIP.io. It will tell you the number of the hundreds of millions of people outside of India who are using the India Digital ID stack, our open source solution, which is free of cost, non-proprietary, non-predatory, and we don't steal your data. So you build your own open source, and I think the number should be 160 million. I don't remember exactly, but 160 or 150 million folks, 11 countries who have rolled it out, 28 who are playing with it and experimenting with it. But that's our job, that we have built technology capabilities in partnership with our friends in California and other parts of the world, and we are offering them to the global south so that they can build their own proprietary architectures, right? So that they are not owned by the big tech or the big 4 or 5 companies who have their headquarters in this country.